In eastern Ukraine, there's been further fighting for control of Lysychansk. The Ukrainian army rejects Russia's claims that they've encircled the city. Russian state media says 2 more British men captured by Russian forces in Ukraine have been charged with being mercenaries. Heavy fighting has been continuing around the eastern Ukrainian city of Lysychansk in the Lugansk area of the eastern Donbas region. It's the only remaining city in the area that's not under Russian control. These pictures from Russia's state-owned domestic news agency, RIA, show drone images of battles near the city. But Kiev denies the claims that Russian-backed fighters have encircled the city. Elsewhere, Russia is continuing its missile strikes. In the south, Ukraine's military says Mykolaiv has been hit by 10 missiles targeting the port and other industrial infrastructure. It's not yet clear if there are any casualties. The Ukrainian authorities have accused Moscow of hitting civilian targets in an effort to force them into making territorial concessions. And meanwhile, 2 more Britons captured by Russian forces in Ukraine have been charged with being mercenaries. That's according to Russian state media. It comes after 2 other British men were sentenced to death last month. Joe Inwood tells us more.
Andrew Hill travelled to Ukraine to help fight the Russian invasion. Dylan Healy went there to help evacuate civilians. Both men now face being tried as mercenaries in an unrecognised separatist court. They would not be the first to appear there. Last month, Aidan Aslan, Sean Pinner and a Moroccan man, Brahim Saoudoun, were all sentenced to death by the so-called Donetsk People's Republic. According to Dominic Byrne, who is working on their cases, it is no coincidence most of them are British.
This really shows that the Russians are putting more and more pressure on the British government and other governments and using the British prisoners as more of a political tool and negotiation tool more than others. And we believe that's the case because the British government have really seemed to have rattled the Russians within Ukraine.
Rattled or not, on the battlefields of the east, Russia is very much on the advance. They are said to be taking ground in Lysychansk, the last part of the Luhansk region held by the Ukrainians. Russia is moving to encircle the city. If they do, they will cut off some of Ukraine's most experienced soldiers. But it's not just the eastern Donbas region that has felt the effects of Russia's invasion. The last fortnight have seen attacks right across Ukraine. Here in the capital, Kyiv, at a shopping centre in the town of Kremenchuk, and most recently in the resort of Serhivka. 21 people are now known to have died when 3 Russian missiles struck the popular holiday destination. Roman tried to help.
Everyone who was inside at that moment, they all died. My neighbour was a very good person. It's a great pity. She simply died in my arms. It's really scary. I don't know how to put it into words.
The attack on Serhivka came just a few hours after Russia was driven from the strategically important Snake Island under massive Ukrainian bombardment. Russia claimed it left as a gesture of goodwill, but last night returned to bomb the equipment it had been forced to leave behind. Joe Inwood, BBC News, Kyiv.